We're going to be talking a little bit about the back end of the websites, a little bit about the landing pages and how I can draw more people and what type of tools you can integrate with your website and how to integrate some of the other third-party platforms that are out there, Facebook, YouTube, things of that nature, how to integrate that or when you should and when you shouldn't integrate yourself into that. Just to remind you that this talk will be recorded and will be put on YouTube, and I'll share that with you guys when it's all said and done. Please stay muted. If you have the opportunity, toss the any questions into the chat window, and I'll be watching. And I will go ahead and I'll stop and answer. We went a little long last time, but hopefully it wasn't too excruciating. We'll try to keep it to about an hour, and then we'll have some additional discussion. So this week's talk is about websites. It's me, and then we're in 2 weeks, Laurel, who's Susan Brown's daughter, will come in and talk a little bit about IP and copyright. If anybody has any questions about that, it'll be a nice and informative. Laurel's going to law school downtown in Seattle. It's in between one parked car that's burning and a trash can that's burning, somewhere down there. So she'll come and help, and she's real smart, really, really helpful to talk a little bit about IP and copyright. And then we'll have Joel talk a little bit about the anthology, and we'll talk a little bit about the new anthology that started, that we're going to be doing, and who will be taking that over and who will be the point on that. So we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. Is there any discussions or questions that we have before we get going? Any main questions that anybody might have had from the last talk that maybe weren't answered? Either put them in the chat window or feel free to unmute real quick if you'd like to hear something specific, or maybe something that I glossed over last time. We can maybe have a little bit extra. I'll go as long as we want. So, someone's.
Can I get a question in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Last week you were helping us set up a website. I had a website using WordPress, and it was deleted when my publisher merged with another company. What is the process when you log into WordPress? What is the process of getting a website?
So are you trying to get into your old website, or are you trying to get into
No, I'm going to create a brand new one, but okay. I don't see anything on the dashboard that indicates how you actually create a website.
Okay, so maybe what I'll do is I'll just a simple walkthrough. Are you going to work through a different hosting company and you want to own it yourself and manage it yourself, Edward?
Yes, I'm going to try to do it all myself. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe what we can do is I'll kind of give you like maybe a Bluehost walkthrough, and kind of I'll give you a walkthrough, and I'll use some terms that will help you when you go and do that. And if you need, I can sit with you, or we can sit on a separate call and we can talk about it. If
that's very good. I'll mute and take some notes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Edward. That's a good question. I think there's a number of people here on the call today that are probably at this stage as well. I know there's a lot of the people who already have websites, and they need to know what they want to do to go forward. So we'll try to bring both those in. Is there any other questions or concerns? People can come off mute, and I just took a note for Edward to bring that up. Edward, I might not bring. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about it at the end because it may be a little bit of a side thing, but I won't miss it. I have it as a note.
Matt, I would like to.
I can always buy you lunch, Matt.
Yeah, I'm a cheap date. Chipotle's my thing.
There you go.
No flowers needed.
Matt,
go ahead, Linda. Yes.
I got a notice recently that my website is loading really slowly, and I have a ton of photos on it. And could you show me and everybody else, I know how to do it, but how to make your photos smaller in whatever it is that that will help them load more quickly?
Not a problem. I'll do the online and the Matt Buza super special cheapo way? Okay, resizing photos, great. That is a very, very good question, and that will cause some problems with some people who have a lot of photos on their website. If you only have about 3 or 4 big photos, it won't be as big of a problem. But Linda has, a lot of a lot of content, a lot of things, and that can cause slowdowns for people, especially who don't have good internet connections.
And keep in mind that my website is like 12 years old, so
Yes.
it's built up. So plan for the future.
Yeah, so you have the old jalopy of websites. I got it. No problem.
But no, I mean, as people write more books, they're going to have more photos.
Exactly. Part of that might also be a design consideration. So you may want to pull off, every single short story. Doesn't have to be on one page. You may simplify what you're showing users to be the most important thing you want at that moment. And I'll show a couple examples of that. I think of the Amanda Lee author. She's the cozy mystery author. She has a good website. That's a good example of that, where we all know she has about 300 books, but she only shows about 5. And so that may be a way to get around that problem. But I have a note here to talk about that. I have I think a plugin that might help you as well that I'm going to recommend. Any other questions or comments that may be needed? Okay. So we won't waste too much time. We'll go ahead and get started. So my name is Matthew Buza. So this is the second website talk. There was a first website talk that we did 2 weeks ago. That was more of the basics. First time people starting a website, some design considerations, tools that you may want to use, concerns about how to make things look nice and pretty. This week, we're going to go a little bit more into depth about how to integrate some additional tools, whether they're plugins or they're third-party tools, into your website to make them more dynamic and take advantage of additional marketing channels that you could potentially push yourself into. So last week, it was about building your lemonade stand on the information superhighway. And this week, it's about building that super, super sweet hotel on Baltic Avenue. Just that one step up from the lemonade stand. So hopefully there's a few people chuckling there. I thought that was funny. But all right, so we'll come back to the same slide we always talk about. We have a lot of things we have to do to have our author platform. And each and every one of these items here on each bullet is important, and is multiple hours of lectures and a lot of hours. Guffaws. I'm muted. Okay. We have a lot of items here that we typically have to flesh out as we're building our author platform. And we're talking about the second bullet today, which is the websites, blogs, vlogs, that basic content generation around your website, and things like blogs, videos, audio that you may accompany your website to help draw people in and get interested in what you're doing. So I just want to let everybody know today's talk is one tranche of what you're trying to do to complete your marketing platform, which is your author digital ecosystem. So we're going to talk about websites, and this is the second hour-long talk about websites. So you can tell there's a lot of content. Just to recap from what we did last time, we talked a little bit about websites, the hosting, the backend choices, all the various options we have available to this. And I'll show you a few popular authors that are using some of those common platforms that we talked about. We also talked about design decisions, meta design, and also specific web design. How are we going to show people things? How can we organize the content that's thoughtful, that is going to help the user make a simple decision, which is to buy the next book or to sign up for your newsletter? We talked about capturing those newsletters. We're going to talk a little bit more today about driving people to our newsletter, because we know that's the most important way for us to grow as an author, is to have access to customers on a momentary basis, which is send that email out, have them buy that next book, or send that email out and help them buy that next promotion that we're running, and how to build those banner images that compel people to want to purchase or to sign up for your newsletter. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a little bit more sophisticated manner. And then simple websites in action. We showed a bunch of examples, and I showed a simple website that I built in about 60 minutes as an example, using one of the platforms that we talked about. And then finally, we talked a little bit about branding concerns. So that will come back in here today with the last half of this talk, when we were talking about landing pages, newsletter signups, delivering digital content, a little bit more in depth. So, all right. So what we'll do is the next one. So basically making a couple of assumptions with Edward's question aside. We'll get to that, but I'm assuming that you've chosen a website, maybe a backend that you like, whether it's WordPress, Weebly, Wix, Squarespace, whatever it might be, or assume you've picked something or that you want to go in a certain path. And using those various options, we'll go ahead and have discussions for the rest of today based on that understanding, and that you want to have basically the skeleton. You don't want to spend a lot of money. So we don't want to spend a ton of cash up front building this like elaborate website that maybe we don't need to use right now, that we're willing to grow over time. Matt, did you send a link to the Mace? Yes, I did. I sent it in an email, Andy, the link to the last talk. But today, when this is all done, I'll send that link again so that you can review today's talk and last time's talk. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, great. No problem. I'll send it again. So Andy was asking about the link to the last talk. The links are hidden they're not available public viewing, so you have to have the link to watch it. So I'll make sure to send that out again so people can watch last week's talk as well. So like always, I want to just tell you what we're going to talk about. First thing we're going to talk about is plugins that reduce the workload and improve your website. We'll talk about what a plugin is. We'll talk about all the details, but we'll talk about what are those tools that we can add to our website that can improve how our website acts to the user and also improves our workflow. There was a lot of questions last time of reducing workflow. We're reducing work to maintain your website. And I've got a couple plugins that can help you do that. And I'll show you some examples of how I use that with the Writers Co-op website. So you can kind of see how that works. We'll talk a little bit about landing pages, and then we're going to do a big grouping talking about all the other third-party tools that we tend to see: Facebook, YouTube, podcasting, and how not to Borgify your website, and to think about how to use these other platforms thoughtfully on your website without causing your website to become cluttered and dirty. So pop-ups for Google, not easy. Okay, so Heidi, I'll take a note on that. So Heidi had a question on pop-ups. I was actually thinking about you guys with respect to the pop-ups, and so I kind of have a solution for you on Google web pages. So Heidi has a question regarding, they use Google as their website builder, which is a little different than, say, WordPress or Weebly. It doesn't have as many tools and features, and so they'll have to do a little bit of a kludgy method to, build either a pop-up or do some type of banner image. So I'll talk to you guys about Heidi. I'll reference you when we get to that point. So that's basically what we're going to be talking about today. And so we'll go ahead and get started. So the first half of this talk is going to be talking about WordPress, because most of us have a WordPress website. The Co-op website is a WordPress. I think Linda has a WordPress. My personal web pages are WordPress. Diana's is WordPress. WordPress is very popular. It's a very popular decision. It's a very popular selection for a lot of people. A lot of people already have their WordPress websites. So what I want to do is go through a number of plugins that pertain to WordPress. So if you're a Squarespace user, or if you're a Weebly user, this may not be as useful to you, but it is good to know about these things, because those platforms have plugins and features that are similar to this that you may want to go and enable or disable or tweak. They'll have a similar terminology. So it is important to listen, but these are specifically towards WordPress because it is the dominant platform. It's akin to Amazon publishing versus Barnes & Noble publishing. So you want to be on Amazon, and Barnes & Noble is kind of a secondary thing. So WordPress is the Amazon of web publishing for small businesses, for authors, things of that nature. Why is your screen showing huge and flashing back to regular? Linda, I don't know. I think that might be an issue on your end. Is anybody else seeing any flashing on the screen? Mine is fine. Yeah, Linda, that might be something on your side. I'm so sorry. If you can make your screen a little smaller, or the window a little bit smaller, or you can wait till the YouTube video comes out. I am recording this, so great. Okay, so let's talk a little about WordPress. WordPress is think of it as a big set of Legos, where all these features can be plugged in, and hence the term plugin. So think about all these like Lego pieces that you may want to add to your website. Let's say you have the Death Star, which is your your Lego Death Star, and you want to add on a few extra pieces. These are called plugins, and these are little bits of code that can be installed onto your website that give you extra features. Very often they're free or they're paid, and all the plugins we're going to reference today have free options and paid options. And I'll tell you when to pay for certain ones, and maybe you don't want to pay for them. A lot of times they're recurring fees, so there's a little bit of concern of bloating your costs as an author. So you want to be concerned about that. But I think every one of the plugins that I'm talking about today has a free option, and you'll probably don't want to go past the free option. So be aware of that. Plugins can age, so there's a little bit of an issue that these plugins are third-party developed software that plugs into your website, and they needs to be maintained by those people and continuously tested. So you do want to be concerned about which plugins you download and use on your website, because they can age, and you may have something that's old that may not be usable on the latest version of WordPress, which is constantly being updated. So you do want to check about that. Also, with every plugin, you want to look at the reviews. What if I have to stop for a Java update? Yeah, that's nice. You want to check the reviews, because a lot of times plugins may become non-compatible with the latest version of WordPress, and you'll see that reflected in the reviews. The most recent reviews will have plugins not working with WordPress, plugins not working with WordPress. So you do want to look at the reviews to see if it's aging appropriately. Now, all of this sounds very scary. All I'm doing is just saying, drive your car on the road in between the lines and obey the traffic lights. This is basic good practices when you're adding a lot of plugins. Be aware of the rando plugins that maybe have like 15 reviews, because they can break your website, and you don't want to run into that issue. So often that happens. It hit me one time and I had to kind of restore my website. So do be careful about make sure it has a lot of reviews. It's been downloaded a lot of times. It has some age behind it before you use it on your website, just as a best practice. All right. And I'll show you just real quick what it looks like. WordPress, wordpress.org/plugins is the web link, and I have it there in the slides. And under this, it gives you kind of a search window here, and then you can search pretty much anything. Like specifically, if you found a plugin, say Updraft Plus, which we'll talk about, you just go ahead and type that in, and it'll come right up here as the first one, and then you'll have the ability to download that plugin and install it. You can also do it directly from the WordPress backend. So there's a whole little search engine on WordPress to be able to find these plugins. So you don't have to go directly to Google. Go to the plugin website if you want to find it directly. So if you're afraid that you're going to be downloading something you don't want. All right, so I have a link there to wordpress.org/plugins if you want to find those plugins, or if you just want to look at it. So for everybody who's not WordPress, you do want to, your hosting company or your Weebly or Squarespace or Wix or whatnot has things that add on to your website. They may be under the terms like widgets or add-ons or additional features or something like that. You may see some of these features like SEO optimization, caching for your website, image optimization, like what Linda was talking about. Those may be things that you want to that can be added onto your website, maybe at cost, like $1 a month, or it's some free widget that you have to install. So if you are looking for something like this, look under those type of terms and see if those are available for you, since we do have multiple hosting platforms. But do understand they will not support the richness of the WordPress plugin community. WordPress was designed to be modular and to be modifiable. So that is the design of that back end. So that's why they have such a huge third-party community, or such a large community around their platform. I know it's a lot of software mumbo jumbo talk, but this is what we're talking about, and this is, if you want to get into this is the terminologies that they're using. So if you download from a third party, be careful and look at what you're trying to download. Yes. Exactly. So some of the concerns around some plugins is that the feature that you want will be behind the premium wall. So you'll have to pay for it. And sometimes they're cheap, like, oh, it's $5 one-time fee. That may be worth it to you. If it's $20 a month for forever, that may not be something what you want. So do be aware of that. So here's the list of the plugins that we're going to talk about tonight. Yes. So Linda's referenced the security plugin. I didn't want to get into any security stuff because I do hope that your hosting company does pretty good security stuff, but there are security plugins that you can add, and she referenced WordFence, which is a good one as well. I did not reference that one here, but we're just talking about usability here. There's a lot of security, so if you don't want somebody hacking your comments or hacking your website, there are security elements that you can add to your, as a plugin to your WordPress to protect your website. So that is an option as well. First one that we're going to talk about is WordPress SEO by Yoast. It's a free plugin. And SEO is search engine optimization. So this allows your content to be easily seen when people are searching for things. So for example, if you're a cozy mystery author, you may want your website to come up on page 3 and people search for cozy mysteries. And so these type of plugins allows you to set that parameters, set those keywords, set the metadata on your website, so it does increase your visibility. SEO is a PhD level craziness industry where people really go wonky on how to improve your SEO, so you're trying to be discovered on like Google searches. I don't know if, like, you know, Joe Blow author needs to stress out and lose sleep over, am I getting proper SEO on my website so that I come up on Google searches? That may be something more for, like, if you're a blog and you're trying to blog to people, that may be more of a concern. If it's just you and you're trying to publish a few books, it's not as important, but it's a free plugin that you can set a couple widgets, set a couple levers, and forget about it. Maybe return to it once a year to change some details, but it will help buoy your website up just in general. So it is a free plugin, but it does have premium features. I don't recommend anybody to buy the premium option unless you become some, like, world famous blogger or some world famous podcast or something like that. Then it may be useful. But right now, I don't think anybody should be paying money for this. Use the free plugin, set it, make a couple feature changes, and then, you know, go about your day and go write that next book. Focus on the next book. But I just wanted to start off with the SEO. This is a great place to start. Each and every one of these plugins, I have a link here in the slides, which are also on the member site. So you can go directly to the plugin page to download it. Next one is W3 Total Cache. So this is, again, also improves SEO, but also increases your website performance. So this is caching certain aspects of your website so it loads faster. So Linda, this is something for you. You may want to look into this. There are a lot of widgets that can be turned on. Maybe I believe they have some image optimization in here as well. So if you're using large images, that is a good thing maybe possibly to use. Again, this is free with premium features. Don't use the premium, use the free option. But I don't know if this is necessary when you're starting out, because very much often when you're just starting out, you maybe have one or two, you know, books in your catalog, and it's not really that important. I don't know if that's something you should be worrying about. But if somebody's a little bit more mature author, like with Linda, and she's trying to use her website to be a little bit more dynamic, has a lot of content on it, something like optimizing your website loading is something important to do. Let's see, Linda's typing a question. Mature, LOL. Yes, I try to be nice. Old lady website. All right, so next one is Google Analytics. I'm sorry, old lady, old adult websites. So Google Analytics, this is, you have to create an account on Google and then log your website as part of it. And then what you can do is install the plugin into your website, and then you create this dashboard on your back end of your website, so you can view all of your analytics. This is how many people have come to your website, how many unique viewers, how long are they spending on your website. If you're a blog, that's kind of important because you want to make sure people are coming to your website and they're staying on it and they're reading all of your content. If you're just a simple little author who's selling books, you don't maybe care about how long people are on your website, just that you're driving some traffic. Do you want to see thousands of views a day? Probably not. Maybe a couple of views a day, maybe a couple of views a week, and then grow that over time. I have the link to the plugin that will then link to the Google Analytics. You need to create an account there. So, Joel, the difference between this and the stats on the website is that there's a little bit more of like where people are coming from. Google tracks a lot of that information. If people are coming to your website, say from Facebook, you may know, okay, I'm getting a lot of my traffic from Facebook. That could help you in your decisions on, where these people, you may be hot in India, right? Literally, like people in Mumbai may love your vampire books. And that may be something that you can exploit because you see that data. And then you may run targeted ads at people for that reason. China for the same reason, yes. So if you see like a group, like if for some reason my supernatural books are really popular in Australia, maybe I run more Facebook ads or AMS ads as Australians, right? Things like that. It's a good way to kind of view into where your people are coming from, because we don't have access to, say, Amazon's traffic, or we don't know who bought our books from Amazon. This is kind of a back end way of us finding out where people are coming from. So it's really popular. This is a really good thing to put on your website. Should it be the first thing when you're starting out? Probably not. I wouldn't stress about this, but it is definitely something when you start to do a lot of marketing. Is a nice thing to have. We have it on our Writers Co-op website, and about every day we get about 5 to 10 views on the website. So it's a good thing for me to know. And then sometimes I see these spikes of like 50 people coming to the website, and I realize, oh, that was the day I posted the slides on the marketing, the member site, and everybody came and got all those or whatnot. So it's cool to see that people come to the website. So Google Analytics is a good one, and Monster Insights is the plugin company that made it. So that's one I suggest. Again, that's free. This is a really popular one, really powerful for us as authors. Super important is to know if a link has broken for some reason. Some of us, Amazon may change their link to your book, or the link that you were using that's tracking people going to your Amazon page is broken for some reason. We don't know why, but maybe the link broke. And it's not physically breaking. It's just that the people who, the URL that goes to your landing page, to your author page is not the same now. Amazon made a tweak, and now that link actually doesn't work. This is a very powerful plugin for you that will tell you when those links break. It's always checking them. Yeah, this one is critical. Thank you. Yeah, it's a must-have for bloggers too. So very often, my example of Amazon breaking the link is not true. Very often that doesn't happen. But if you're blogging a lot and you have links to external web pages or other blogs, like, hey, you should also read this other blog, that person may have taken that blog post down, and now that link takes you to nowhere. And this is a nice thing to have, is if something breaks in your things. So the checker sends you an email or what? Yeah, so they can send you a report. So the question is, does this send you a notification? Yes, I believe that you can set it to send an email to you. You can also check it if you're on your website a lot, and they give you a nice report on there. See what options they have, but I believe they have an email option. I just go to the website, once a month, and I just check it, because I know we don't have like millions of people coming to the website, so I can just look once in a while. But it is a nice thing that your links don't break. So if somebody is reading your blog, they click on something. Even nice if you're doing like affiliate links and your affiliate link breaks. That's another time to know if something, one of your links is broken. So it's another good plugin to have. All right, next one is front end editor. So this is a front end editor for WordPress. So what does that mean? Okay, I'll get to your question, Heidi, in a second. The front end editor. So when I say back end, that is when you go into WordPress. Actually, I think I have it. Yeah, so this is your back end dashboard. This is the one for the co-op. So this is the back end, but sometimes it's nice to make changes directly on the front end right here. So say I just loaded up Diana's Chloe Holiday's wink wink Diana's new books. Let's say I misspelled horrified. So instead of actually going into the back end to edit it, they know I'm logged in. You can see the top banner here. Chrome knows I'm logged in. With the front end editor, I could literally double click on horrified and just edit it right in line. So I actually don't have to log into the back end of the website, do all the, find the post, do all the hard work. It knows I'm logged in and I can just change it directly. So it's a nice little front end editor. This is really nice for anybody who's doing a lot of blogging, because you'll have a lot of text and then you may be checking that text when it's finally live, and you may see one little typo or an error or maybe some formatting issue, and you want to just fix it real fast. This is a nice little plugin to do that. So I think it's kind of a must-have for bloggers. If you're doing a lot of blogging, it's probably optional for the rest of us. If we're just, have our 5 books listed on our website, we don't really need to worry too much about that. But if you're blogging a lot, this is a nice feature, and it's also free, so that's always nice. Next one, easy table of contents. So what this will do is you'll create a nice table of contents, and you can change the formatting, but this is an example of it right here. That if you have a long blog post, which they've commonly referred to as epic blog posts, it may be 5,000-6,000 words long. It's very nice to have intermediate, a table of contents, so people can jump to the section of content they may want, or that they may want to reread. I think it's a must-have for bloggers to have a nice, jump spot at the beginning, but maybe kind of optional for the rest of us. It does improve the readability and the user friendliness of your blog, so that's nice. It's a great way to organize things. So, and again, it's free, so it's nice to have. Duplicate post, duplicate page. These are 2 separate plugins, because a post is for a blog post. A page is just a static page for WordPress. That's just the terminology, and there's 2 separate plugins, and I have them both linked here. So a lot of times when you're doing blog posts and you need to create, another blog post, but you have a kind of a template that's set, why do you want to recreate that every single time? No way. You want to basically copy the previous post, change the context, publish. So there was a lot of questions on how to improve blogging, how to improve updates to my website. These type of things are very, very powerful to help save a lot of time. And for an example here, I'll just go back into our website. Let's see the dashboard. So for posts, you can see the cloning option here. So clone. So for example, I used this just yesterday, actually, when I was putting Diana's books on the website. I created the first one, but I used clone to do that. And then when I created the second post, I just used clone of the first post. And all I had to do was change an image, change some text, and I was done. And I didn't have to recreate anything. I didn't have to redo a ton of work. So if you could see what I get is, if I wanted to create a brand new post, I would lose a lot of the formatting and a lot of the options that I've selected. And it just makes my job a lot easier and saves me a ton of time. So I'm able to update. So if there's clone, why not? So because the plugin only pertains to posts, and then the plugin pertains to pages. So there's 2 separate options here. So it's 2 separate plugins. Does that make sense, Sydney? So if I want to create a duplicate page, it's different than a blog post. So for us, every new item on our website is a blog post. Got it. Cool. Okay, cool. I want to make sure I'm not being confusing. So super popular. I would say it's a must-have for anybody who's a blogger, but it's also very helpful if you tend to offhand blog, or you tend to make new pages a lot. For example, we'll talk a little bit later about running promotions, and very often you need a quick link for that. So say, for example, MatthewBuza.com/giveaway, right? And then I might do another promotion where it's MatthewBuza.com/fast giveaway, or new giveaway, or giveaway 2020, right? And I need to create quick pages like that. This is very helpful to do that. And we'll have a good example here at the end, and I'll talk a little bit about it. And I'll use Tony as a good example of where she should probably maybe do something like this when she does her like interviews and podcasting. And we'll talk a little bit later about when you would maybe need duplicate page. So anyway, it's free. It's a really nice thing to have. I use it all the time, especially for our web. It's probably the most used plugin that I use for our website. So just want to let you know about that one. Next one is about MailMunch. And I grouped it in with MailMunch and then MailChimp forms. So MailChimp is the email provider where you can send out newsletters and whatnot. And MailMunch is kind of an intermediary between your website and MailChimp. And it sits in between on your website. So it can collect emails. It can create really pretty landing pages, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. And then it will send those emails to MailChimp so people can sign up to your newsletter. A great example of this is, believe it or not, on the Writers Co-op website. If you go to /free, you can actually see what a landing page looks like. This is the Mail Munch landing page. So you can get some free books, talks a little bit about it. You can enter in your newsletter, and it's a very nice, pretty short link on your website, right? So it's not, a big pile of jumbled letters, with like that. That's hard to remember. But if you want to have a nice little page that's easy to remember, /free. This was created using MailMunch. Understand? So MailMunch is a nice little tool if you want to create pretty looking landing pages that you don't have to pay for, lead pages. That's really expensive. We'll talk more about lead pages and landing pages later, but MailMunch is nice for that. MailMunch also supports plugins. A plugin for pop-ups. So if you want to use pop-ups, and the Writers Co-op website uses MailMunch as our pop-up for gathering emails. You can also set it to notify you when you get a new email. It sends you an email, lets you know, how many new emails did I get today. So it's a nice little service. You have to have an account on MailMunch, but it's free. So it's a nice thing. The other one, the other one is MailChimp Forms, and I'll show you what that looks like on one of the other author websites. Actually, I'll show it you right now. It's a plugin that you can do so you can capture emails directly on your web page using a little bit of XML code. So here I'm on Amanda Lee's website. Amanda Lee is a very, 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 very successful cozy mystery author, and you can kind of see what she does. And at the very end, she has an embedded form to sign up for the newsletter. So I can, just go ahead and type in the newsletter, type in my name, put my website, whatever, and I hit subscribe. This is a MailChimp form that has been embedded onto her website. Also, might I note for people who were here last time how simple her website is and the structure of her website. If you just want to toot my own horn on design, she does exactly what we had suggested you guys to do last time. But this is that MailChimp form. So if you want to have an embedded form on your website, the MailChimp Forms plugin allows you to do that very easily and then sync to your MailChimp newsletter. Hopefully that's not too complicated. Do not buy the premium versions of these. Just keep the free ones. They're nice. They're nice enough. Okay, next one, embedding my writing part 1. So this is a 3-part series of slides. There's a lot of people who want to put their writing on their website, whether it's in the blog or on a page for whatever reason. Who knows? Doesn't matter. One of the big complaints about WordPress is the formatting does not fit a novelized standard, like a MLA type of standard. They have very large spacings between paragraphs. They don't support tabs or dialogue very nicely. And we want to have a reading experience on our blog. So if somebody's on their mobile phone, they're on your website, they're reading your blog, and you're putting dialogue because you're writing some fiction, I want to embed my writing in a readable format. So I have 4 options here for people. Embed any document, a PDF embedder, Doc Expresso, and Wattpad. Now, Wattpad is a separate, it's not a plugin, but I wanted to include it here because I think it fits, where you can embed your writing on the website through wattpad.com, which is just a publishing platform. The Writers Co-op page uses Doc Expresso. I found it to be the easiest one to use. You do have to save your document into this special format that is supported on Word and Pages. I think it's ODT. It's like an open source file format. All you have to do is just save your file as ODT file, and then you upload it. And then when you load it into the blog post, it looks like a novel. So we use that one on our. I haven't used it in a little while because that was back when we were publishing a lot of short stories. But it worked really nice and had nice readability. The other 2 are just embedded document viewers, so it appears in the blog post, and you can scroll or look through it. Really nice way to embed your writing and keep a nice formatting. So that's something that I've heard a lot of people want to see. So I wanted to give you that options. I said bloggers should consider this, but it's maybe not mandatory. But do look into it and see if it's a better reading experience for the reader. And again, they're all free, so you can't lose any time and money on it. Next one, embedding my writing part 2. So if you write in Google Docs, you can publish to the web using Google Docs. Under Google Docs, there's an option under File. It says Publish to the Web, and it will give you a little bit of code that you can input onto your blog post, and then it will show you that Word document. And every time you update that Word document in Google Docs and you say republish to the web, it will then be automatically, the next time somebody goes to that blog post, they'll see the newest version of that document. So a real nice, powerful way to push stuff out there. Real nice if like you're writing a live NaNoWriMo and you want people to follow with you. That's a good way to go about it. So you can actually write in Google Docs and you don't have to really worry too much about formatting on your blog posts. So a good way to do that, and it carries the readability and the formatting that we're familiar with and readers are familiar with. So, and again, it's free, and it goes, and I have a couple steps here that you can follow, and you can see how to do that. Okay. All right, last one, embedding my writing part 3. Now this one costs a little bit of money, but if you're planning on blogging and you're getting to like an amazing blogging level and you're getting a lot of traffic and you feel that you want to commit to blogging, this one costs about $40 a year, and it's called EmbedPress. I'm not recommending this to everyone. This is really for a select blogging individuals. It allows you to easily embed any type of document from the source. And so whether you want video, docs, images, maps, Facebook feed, Imager links, whatever, they have over 75 content sources. So if you can imagine your website and your blog and you're hosting all of your content on these other websites, whether it's YouTube, Google Maps, Instagram, Facebook, and you want to bring that information into your blog post, Embed Press allows you to do that, and it's about $40 a year. So a nice little thing to think about, a couple dollars a month, $3 a month to really level up your blogging. This may be an option for you. I just wanted to give it to you. This is probably not for everyone. All right. All right. And I get back onto my high horse about cloud computing. We back up our writing, right, guys? We back up our writing, not just to the jump drive, not just to our stupid, backup storage thing on our computer. We're actually backing up to like Dropbox or Google Drive, things that are in the cloud that won't fall into waste paper baskets, Tony, or anything like that. We're actually putting stuff on the cloud. So we need to do that with our website, and Updraft Plus will do that. So you can basically back up your website, and then you can restore if you ever do something that's wrong. You back up your writing, right? Yes, we do. Hopefully everybody does. So this is just something for you guys to use if you want. It's a plugin, and it's free to do that. How do you get them out of the cloud? How do you get who out of the cloud, Tony? Are you talking about your writing? Anything? Yes. You just have to yell at it. Just walk outside your door and yell. All right. So that was WordPress plugins. I know that was a lot. Hopefully it wasn't too confusing. Hopefully it gives you some ideas on things you can incorporate. Okay. We got a question. Okay. With regards to backups, is it best to keep photos separate or docs and covers for each project? Doesn't matter. So I try to mimic. So the question is regarding backing up of all your content and stuff, just as a writer. Very often we have a file format that's familiar on our computer. So we have a file, writing stuff is mine. And maybe I'll just open it up. So I have writing stuff here. So I have all my books. I have a lot of other stuff that's important to me. All these things, like my books thing, this is mirrored. All these folders is mirrored on my Dropbox account. So if I ever need to find something, it's there. And when I'm actively editing or I'm getting new covers, I'm loading it into both places at the same time so that I'm keeping a local copy that I can work on, but I'm also keeping a public copy. You can also install like a Dropbox app on your computer, and you can point it to the folder, and what it will do is it will sync your folder to Dropbox all the time. So anytime you drop something new in there, it automatically sends it to Dropbox. That's probably the best way to do it. Is Dropbox the best choice? Dropbox is the best choice because it's free. Also, so Diana, if you just search, if you go to Dropbox, you can find the installer for Windows, and you can point it to the folder, and it does it for you. Is Dropbox the best? Is what Tony's question. Dropbox is free. You get 2 gigs worth of storage. Most of our writing is very small, like the files and the images are very small, and it'd be a very hard haul for you to pass 2 gigs worth of writing. Maybe Linda, I don't know. That could be a concern. But another alternative is Google Drive. If you want to use Google Drive, you get 15 gigs there. Question is, what about audio files? It's a great question. An audiobook might run 2 gigs worth of data. Actually, let me just check. I did an audiobook for 270 page book. So let's see how big this was. 2 gigs, 3, 4, 5 gigs, 7, 8. Yeah, so you can definitely see what would happen if you do an audiobook. There you go, 16 gigs. Now you're talking about, you're probably going to want to pay either Apple. You want to either pay, if you're on an Apple device, you want to pay for their cloud storage. You can get like a couple hundred gigs, or you can pay for Google Drive, and I think they get up to a couple hundred gigs, and it's like a couple dollars a month. So that may be an opportunity for you. MP3 makes up less than WAV. Yes, that's correct, Sydney. But when you want to edit in WAV files, and then you finally you export to MP3. It's the best process. So yeah, and now that was the way I did the editing. So there's a lot of duplicate content in there, and that's why it's 16 gigs. But that was the way my workflow worked, so it tended to be pretty large, right? I mean, for uploading, yes, correct. So MP3, yes. I think ACX accepts MP3 files. Okay, so that was a little bit of an aside. Hopefully that is that. So before we go to landing pages, what I'll do is, we had a question about resizing photos. So the easiest way to do that is to go to Google and type in resize photo, and there's about 1 million websites that do that for you. Or you can do it the super cheapo way, which is when you open up Paint in Word. I mean, for PCs here. So let's say, for example, if I have a cover here, says "Don't Go There." It's a COVID series by Ben Hacking. I know, guys. Come on, the puns are everywhere. All right. You can see how large this photo is. It's really, really, really large. So I'm in Paint. Let's see if anybody got my ha. Thank you. Yep. I was looking for a pun name for that one. So I have a large photo and I need to make it smaller. Okay. So Control W allows me to resize the image. Say I want it 25%. And then I go ahead and, save this as, I don't want to, save as on my desktop. We'll call this A. And the file size has changed from, let's see, 200K to about 50K. So I was able to cut it, obviously in 1/4. So I went 25%. That's a quick way to change the size of your photos. This is still a large photo that can go on your website. You haven't lost a lot of pixelization, and it makes it a little bit easier. That's the quickest way I do it. There's other ways to do it. If you care about your DSI or whatever, don't do that. But if you're just trying to take large images and make them small for your website, that's the quickest way I do it. I think this needs to go. I think I need to do this so I don't bog down my website. Correct, yes. So if you can make your images, so if you have covers you're getting from people, here I'll use my dead red cover as an example of this. So the large image is almost 1 meg large, so it's 886K. So I went ahead and made a small image that's only 70K. And so I use that on my website. So I went from 1 meg down to 70K. And that just means it's going to load 10 times faster. So these are little tweaks you can do, because what you're going to do is you're going to load this large image and you're going to make it small, but it's still going to be a large image, right? So you want to make it smaller and then load a small image. I've had issues with, so Andy says, I've had issues with photos on Apple when you copy to a document, it brings in the metadata with it, slows uploading. Yeah. So again, same idea. If you can have, there's some tools out there if you want to just search for that. You can strip out some of that metadata that may be causing some of the bloat in the images. I don't have any off the head tools that will do that. But I think if you use a third-party website, like one of the Google searches for resizing photos, they strip that out for you. So definitely try that and see if that helps. I've had this problem as well where I'm loading images into my book, say like a picture of me or a picture of my next book or whatever. And all of a sudden your book went from 2 megabytes to 9 megabytes. That can be a problem. We all know that Amazon doesn't like your books to be over a certain size, and then they start eating into your profit margin for delivering large books. So go ahead.
Matt?
Yeah.
If you change the DPI from 300 to 72, does that change your file size too? Does it, I mean, I don't know what.
Yeah, it would. That's a quality change. So yeah, it'll definitely make your image smaller.
So if you are trying to make your photos smaller,
Mm-hmm.
would you change just the size or the DPI or both?
You can probably do both. Just be careful not to accidentally use the wrong DPI for like a cover image or something like that. Like if you're trying to do some prints, definitely make sure you name your files accordingly so you don't make the wrong choice. But yes, you're right. You can do both. I find if just resizing the image, it takes it down to an acceptable amount. Sydney has a question about DPI. I think it's 300. Linda, do you know? I think it's 300 is the requirement.
That's what I use for covers on, in books when I upload it to Kindle and
Mm-hmm.
create, and, Amazon.
Yeah. So the question, if you're doing a DPI downgrade for just like, say, your website, the answer to that is whatever doesn't make the cover look like crap. So, just figure it out, play around with it, run a couple different selections, see what you like. Whatever doesn't like make the cover look terrible. That's why I always keep the same DPI and I just resize the image. That's just the easiest way to do that, especially somebody who's buying covers from somebody else. Okay. All right. We're going to talk about landing pages and there's lots of options. All right. So we have MailMunch, which we've already talked about the plugin. So we're bringing that one forward. A number of people use different email subscribers. Email services such as MailChimp, MailerLite. A new one that we're all using now is SendFox. And what I'll do is I'll send out a promo code for SendFox if you want to sign up for that. One of the issues with MailChimp and MailerLite is that once you go over a certain number, 2,000 or 1,000 subscribers, you have to start paying every month. SendFox is a one-time purchase, about $50. I think right now for 5,000 subscribers, and that's forever. Even if you have 4,000, subscribers, you don't pay every month. You just pay that one time. They don't have as many features as the other two, so you do have to deal with that. But if cost is an issue, SendFox is a nice option, and I'll send out a promo code for you guys. So I think you could save $10 on it. So it's a good deal. And then BookFunnel is another option as well. And so we'll talk about how to use these as landing pages, lead pages, kind of interchangeable terms that kind of that are used. Landing pages or lead pages, they're kind of the same thing. And we'll talk about how these guys do exactly that. So what is a landing page? So it's a widely used marketing tool. So it's a term you'll hear a lot. Basically, it pushes readers to perform an action. So if anybody arrives to a landing page, they're presented with basically one option, and we call that a call to action. And for most people, it could be to give up an email address, to be buy something, whatever it might be, but it is a singular action and there's nothing else to click. They can't leave the page unless they go to the browser and hit back. There's no link to go somewhere else. There may be a video to watch, but there's a definitive call to action. It's kind of think of it as a kind of a dead end road that you built on your website, because you want to funnel people in there. They either make a decision or they don't. For authors, bloggers, and content creators, this is useful to grow our email list. So when I refer to landing page and lead pages, what we're going to be talking about is building your email list, using this to build your email list, and you doing it on your website and linking from your website to these things. So this is where, when I kind of made the joke at the beginning, you'll kind of at the end of this wonder, did we actually even talk about websites? But this is starting to get to the point where we're bolting things onto our website, very much how we talked about plugins with WordPress, like Legos. These are Legos that we're plugging into our website to help improve what we're trying to accomplish and improve what we're trying to get out of our readers. Okay, so hopefully that answers that. Best way to do that, what's the relationship between a landing page and the home page? Okay, so the home page has a various number of options. It's a great way to find out, oh, what's that other book series? So Linda had the question, what's the relationship between landing page and a home page? A home page is basically the front door of your house. So when they walk into your house, they can either go right, left, up the stairs, use your bathroom, leave, whatever. There's a lot of options. A landing page is sort of like the side door into the garage, off the garage into a single closet. And then you can't get out of that closet into your house, but you can get something out of them, and then, or they can leave, right? It's different from your home page where there's a ton of options. It's more welcoming. The landing page is really, you're just trying to get something out of them. And, I say it like that, it sounds kind of negative, in a negative connotation. Don't take it like that. Think of it as you're trying to get this user to do something, which is you're trying to give them something free to read and you get an email address, or you're trying to get them to purchase something and you get the email address, or they sign up for your webinar or whatever it might be. You're trying to get them to do something. These are think of these are like these people wandered onto your website, or they wandered onto your Facebook page and they're interested. Instead of taking them to your homepage, which could confuse them, right? You want to take them to a landing page so that you can focus what they have to do. And also, it's like going into a grocery store and down the grocery store aisle, and there's like 50 different boxes of cereal. This is analogous to them going into a closet, and in the back corner is Frosted Mini Wheats. And they like Frosted Mini Wheats, and you're trying to get them to buy the Frosted Mini Wheats, not to worry about, Cocoa Krispies and, all the other options you have. You just want them to buy the Frosted Mini Wheats. That's my analogy. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so a landing page, and I'm going to do an example. So this is our guy. When do they see my home? Okay, they give me their email. When do they see my homepage? That's a great question. So very often when they've signed up for your landing page, they're going to be sent some welcome emails from your email provider. Some landing pages allow you to then, once they give you the email, they allow you to redirect them to somewhere, and then you can send them to your homepage, right? Those are things that you can do afterwards to get them onto your front door. So after you threw them into the closet and you got them to do something, then you can walk them back around to the front door and say hi. Okay, so we're going to talk about our favorite guy, Brian Cohen. It's kind of a joke. A bunch of us have taken some courses from this guy. And I wanted to use him as an example of what a landing page looks like and how to implement one. So he uses Lead Pages, which is a very, very expensive landing page company. You can create very beautiful, very simple, very dynamic landing pages, but it costs a lot of money. Because he makes a lot of money, he can afford it. Okay, so basic analysis, he has a simple landing page with a goal of you to sign up to his 5-day course. In order to do the 5-day course, you have to give him an email address. Brian Cohen's meta goal, so the goal above the goal, is for you to buy an expensive course at the end of that 5-day thing. He wants to get you in that course. And then at the very, very end of that, he wants to upsell you on a bunch of services. Okay, that's his goal. Your goal is, I need to learn about Amazon ads. Here's a 5-day free course. I'll give him my email. So his hope is that at the end of that 5-day course, you'll spend more money with him because he's putting in so much work and so much, he's giving you so much, and it's such good content that you'll spend $800 on his more expensive course. Do you see how that works? So the content in the landing page includes a humanizing video of him, and I'll show you it in a second here, a call to action, some more details on the course, and then a button actually to click you back to the form. So it's really, really nice. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Where is it? Did I not open it? All right, fine. That's why I made all the links in here. It's more for me. Oh, there it is, 5-day course. Okay, so here's the landing page. Up here it says briancohen.com lpages.co. So that's how I know he used Lead Pages. He has a short link to it. So it's a nice short link. It's for his most recent ad challenge. So July 2020. So when this is closed down or over, this link will be dead. So, or it may take you to another link. So it starts off with a simple little video. If you play it, it's Brian Cohen's face with some text below translating what he's saying. So if you're like at work or you're on the crapper and you don't want anyone to hear Brian Cohen's nasally voice, you can read it. So he has a nice little humanizing video of him talking. Nice. It's in his bedroom. I'm impressed. Yeah. So the reason why he did this, and all of this, it's real close. He looks like you're talking to somebody on Skype. He's in a bedroom. He's got some very a well-placed trophies in his whatever. This is a humanizing thing. So instead of some high-end, high-produced thing, you see him in his room. He's going to sit here and try to tell you. He's got the camera above his face to make him look thin. He's doing this on purpose to get you to buy, to get you to sign up. So it's very humanizing. He has a very simple call to action. Oh, okay, it's deliberate. Yeah, no, it is. Absolutely, it is deliberate. All this is it seems like, oh, it's just some silly video. But no, this is very, very much A/B tested. He has figured out what gets people to give them the email address. So whenever you see something online, know that you're getting, it's deliberate. Anyway, so you sign up to his thing, your name, first, last name, email address, say, I want to join. You'll then get a series of emails coming from it, and that gets you to do something. And then just in case you got past this, he has some additional information to convince you. And then if you go ahead and click on this button, it takes you back to the top. So he's trying to drive people to do something. And what is that thing? It's to give you the email address. Does it make sense? We're not trying to be that, deliberate about what we're doing, but we are trying to create these lead pages to get email addresses. Now, we don't have to be like Brian Cohen. We're trying to make a lot of money and stuff, but it is very helpful. So where can we use these? So I actually took some screenshots in case the link breaks. You can always refer back to it. So it's top to bottom, right to left, and that's the three screenshots of those images. So if you ever wanted to look at it again, get some idea on some of these type of lead pages, is really good to see what the copy that people are using. So you can reuse a lot of that, because remember, Brian Cohen is I wouldn't say world-class copywriter, but he makes a lot of money every year being a professional copywriter. And so if you want to know what type of copy should I put on my landing pages or on my website, looking at what these guys do and reading the content that they have, he had 5 people running through this to make it optimized, tight, the organization, which words are bolded and which ones are not. This has been run through by very talented copywriters. So it's a good way to kind of reverse engineer what they're saying and how they're doing it so that you can do it on your website. It's a good way to do that. Okay. Any questions? That's the landing page example. Okay. Next thing is we want to think about, where's the reader coming from? Where's the origin of the reader? Okay. So the landing page content depends on what you're trying to do. So we talked about that. What is Brian Cohen trying to do? He's trying to sell you a course. So what are you trying to do? You're trying to sell books, right? So we want to think about where these people are coming from. We want to know what type of tools that I can use, and how can I drive those people to my email list? Okay. And how do I sweeten that deal? So if somebody's coming from Twitter, they're going to want to be really fast and snappy. If somebody's coming from Facebook, maybe they want to see something different. If someone's coming from YouTube, maybe they're looking for something different or something specific. And you may have different landing pages based on where people are coming from. Now, do you do that up front when you first start out? Heck no. All right. But if you're starting to grow and you're starting to have a lot of marketing channels and you're doing a lot of work, you may want to know where your readers are coming from. You may get different types of readers from different places. You may want to know where they're coming from, and you'll do different things based on that. Okay. So the best thing that's ever happened to me is getting free stuff. I had to, that was a Matt Buza edit job there. It's pretty low quality. But they want to get that free stuff. You want to know what type of quality reader are they coming from? How much money did you spend to acquire that reader? If you're running Facebook ads, you're spending a lot more than if you're running, say, I don't know, Twitter ads or YouTube ads. You may be spending more money. You may want to look for a higher quality reader. Okay. So let's look about the reader experience. Great image from one of the great movies of all time, my top 5 movie. So Jim Carrey, Dumb and Dumber. So here comes the reader, Dumb and Dumber. It says, "Good day, mate." They come to a third-party website, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, an app, blogs, wherever they've come from, they land on a lead page. Okay. You can also take them right to your website, but if you're specifically trying to get people to give you an email address, you may link a lead page, and I'll show a good example of this as an example. So that lead page could do one of 2 things. It could either directly have them sign up for your mail service. That's, lead page 3, 4, and 5 takes you straight to a landing page that was made by MailChimp, MailerLite, or SendFox. Or it's a lead page that takes them to a digital content delivery service, such as BookFunnel, Booksprout, ProlificWorks, whatever, and then their email is sent to the email service. So it depends on what you're trying to accomplish and how you're going to accomplish that. For most of us, we fall into this lead page 1 and 2 workflow, where we're trying to give something away, and then we get the email address at the end. Okay? There's 3 different pieces of content here. There's the lead pages, content delivery, and the email service. We know about the email services. We do a lot of that. But how do each one of these work, right? You need to pick 2 to get the 3 that you need: a landing page, digital content delivery, and the email service. So one of the best things that we have is to pick BookFunnel or ProlificWorks. I think most people are using BookFunnel these days. BookFunnel is a great way to create a cheap landing page that gathers the email address and then sends it to one of the email providers, whether it's MailChimp, MailerLite, or SendFox. We're able to achieve the 3 tranches here that we need. A really nice, clean lead page, landing page. We deliver content directly to the reader. Like, that's the free giveaway. This is your lead magnet. And then we gather that email into our email service. The best way to do that is to use BookFunnel and to have one of the email clients support you. That's the cheapest, easiest way to go to combine BookFunnel with your newsletter client. Do we have any questions on this? I'll go into some of the other options that you can do, but this is probably the simplest way to do that. Let's see if there's any questions. All right. So you can also just use your email service, which also supports landing pages. So if we go back, this is the number 4 and number 5 option. Is BookFunnel a Story Origin equivalent? Yes, it is. Like Booksprout, Story Origin, BookFunnel. BookFunnel is the most popular because they do a lot of the promotional aspects. It's the author group promotional. It's free too. That's nice. Yes. Try to keep your costs low if you can. BookFunnel, I think, costs about $10 a month. So do keep that in mind. Okay, so Andy has just a quick question. So who owns the emails when they're stored on MailChimp? Technically, they're stored on MailChimp servers, but you own the emails. It's your job to curate those emails, and it's your responsibility to not misuse those emails. MailChimp provides you the service of sending the emails and collecting them, and then you can send newsletters. You can create newsletters to go to those people. In essence, you own those emails, but technically they're on MailChimp servers. Hopefully that answers your question. All right. Let's see. Okay, cool. So the one that we should do is option 1 and option 2, lead page 1, lead page 2, but there's another option which is cheaper, 3, 4, and 5, which is a lead page that goes directly to your email service, bypassing the digital content delivery. And that is something like this. So on the bottom left, we have the MailChimp landing page, which is just an email sign up, pretty image, give me your email address. The one in the middle is the SendFox version of that. And then the one on the right is the MailerLite version of that. Okay, so every email service provider allows you to create forms or landing pages to gather up those emails. You can link those on your website using a banner image, a book image, a blog post, whatever. you can point, people will click on it and it'll take them to a nice, pretty little landing page. And I'll show you an example of how to do that. You can customize these things. You can do text editing. You can add links. It's very nice, very simple if you don't want to pay for the content delivery. Okay. BookFunnel creates these landing pages that are very nice and very simple, but they also can deliver the books. So that's why we're trying to use BookFunnel, because they'll actually deliver the books to the readers. Actually, I think they'll also deliver it directly to your Kindle. They have the ability to do that. So when the reader downloads the book, they say, send it to my Kindle. Okay. So I'm going to show 3 examples of this and how this looks. So let's do the first one. So Adam Neville is a horror writer. He has a movie on Amazon called The Ritual, based off his book. So he's a big time author. I think his new book is up for some award and whatnot. So you come to his webpage, Adam L.G. Neville, and you say, get your free book. So if you click on it, that takes you to a new link, which is a MailChimp form. This is a landing page that he created on MailChimp. This is the link to it. It's a very ugly link. So he has linked this button that's on his webpage to this link right here up at the top. And it takes the user, opens up a new tab, takes the user, add your email address, your name, what do you prefer? Yes, sign me up, subscribe. Okay. Do you see how that is? This is a landing page to capture an email address. Would you use this on your Facebook page? No, this is really ugly. Okay. But for a website, it's absolutely doable. Okay. Let's show another example. Amanda Lee, we saw this one earlier. On the front of her page, she has a forum, and I believe this is using MailChimp as well. So this is an embedded form to do the same thing. Now let me show you what Eric Carter does. This is another author. He writes thrillers. The front of his webpage is very simple. Do you want to get a free book? He has this really pretty little button right here in the center. If he clicks on this, opens up a new thing. It takes you to his BookFunnel page. So right here, this link was applied to this button. So when you click on that button, it opens this page. This is a landing page. It's a very pretty looking landing page. It's very compelling. Nice copy. Get my book. One button. There's nowhere else to go. All right. Get my book. Sign up to the newsletter. Matthew Buza, send me my free book. Okay. So now I've got my book is sent. Super simple. See how quick that was? It was 2 or 3 clicks. Really easy to do. This is something you want to have on your website. Okay. Simple landing page. So those are 3 examples and how they use to generate landing pages to drive emails and sweetening the deal with their lead magnets. Hopefully that makes sense. If there's any questions, feel free to type them in. Looks like I got a question coming in. So while Sydney's typing her question, Heidi and Joe, you guys were having the issue with the pop-ups. This is where I think you need to integrate the buttons into your website that point users to other websites like BookFunnel or to your email sign up, so it takes them to the second page. So the examples that I just walked through is probably what you'll need to do, where you'll have a banner image, you'll click on it, it'll take you to the other page to sign up for the newsletter instead of a pop-up. So Sydney says, how or where did I, as a reader, find any of these links to landing pages? So great. Let's go back to the Eric Carter one as the example. Okay, so Sydney, you're a Joe Blow reader and you're on Facebook, and I got a nice ad, a real compelling ad for a book that was targeted towards me, and I really, really like it, right? I've clicked on the link. It opens up my Chrome browser on my mobile device on my phone, and it either takes you to Eric Carter's homepage, or if he's smart, it took you directly to his BookFunnel page. That's how you got there. Now, if, for example, maybe you're scrolling around on Twitter and you heard about a new author from a friend and they put their ad address and you clicked on it, it took you to the webpage. Eric Carter may have this pinned. Let's see what's on his Instagram feed. He may have an opt-in. Here it is. So he has pinned a sign up for, I got to be on Instagram. But anyway, the first post of his is likely a sign up to get his free book. Okay? Link below. So free introductory novella. I bet you if you click on any of those, it takes you to get his books. That's another way that you'll do that. So you'll be somewhere on some social media site. You'll click on something and it'll take you to the landing page. Another way to, hopefully that answers you. Okay. Whole separate discussion on ads, I guess. It's not even just ads though. Like you could be on Twitter reading a new hashtag about, what's the new thriller books that are coming out. And Eric Carter has posted something and you go, oh, who's this guy? You click on it and you'll go to his page and you go, oh, he's giving away a free book. Or you're on Facebook and you're in a group and someone says, hey, what are some good, okay, good. So what are you on some Facebook group? Here's an author, boom, it takes you to the landing page. So that's how people can get to this landing page, either from your homepage or you have embedded this link directly into a Facebook post. Okay? So hopefully that answers those questions. Let's go on. One moment, please. Okay. So the question is, great, Matt, I have these really sexy links. How do I get them on my webpage? Very simple. You may have a banner image at the top of your website. You may have a button at the top of your webpage. You can then take that image or that button and link it to the landing page. So anytime anybody clicks on that image or on that button, it takes you to the landing page. You can do this on your social media as well. Okay, it's very simple. I gave a couple little image examples, or you can use the Googles to figure out how to do that. And I give a couple Google search phrases that you can use. It's not hard at all. You can do it in a few seconds. It's very easy. All right. Sorry, one second. Okay, so I kind of like grouped all the last few slides here into one kind of topic of Borgifying your website. So one of the issues is once we start publishing, we start marketing, and we start creating additional content, or maybe we're interviewed on a YouTube channel, or we want to share our Facebook posts, or we're on a podcast and I want to share that with my friends or family or my fans. A lot of times people will just slap all that onto their website, and all of a sudden their website gets very bloated and it gets kind of bogged down. It gets ugly looking. The couch is molding in the back and the leftovers are on the floor. It gets really nasty. We don't want to do that to our webpage because it can create confusion, and eventually the readers don't want to buy. Okay, so we do have to realize third-party tools are third-party tools. They're very powerful, whether it's podcasting, blogging, YouTube, Facebook, whatever it may be. We want to look at things as sort of nodes connected by strands. So we have the node of our website. It's kind of like a ball. And then there's strands connecting to other balls. That may be YouTube, maybe, whatever podcasting service you have, Facebook. We want some content to come to our website. We want to have some ways to get back to those third-party tools, but we want to limit it. We don't want to take everything that's on YouTube and slap it on our website. We don't want to take everything that's on Facebook and slap it on our website. People who are in Facebook are going to stay in Facebook. People who are in YouTube are going to stay in YouTube, and they're only going to leave very briefly. And instead of taking them to this giant confusing web page, we want to take them very often to a landing page, right? Because they want to get back to Facebook as fast as possible, back to YouTube, back to SoundCloud or Spotify or whatever they're using. They want to get back there as fast as possible. And so if you take them to a busy looking website, it can cause some problems. Does ours look too bloated? I can do that in a few minutes. Sorry. We'll do that at the end. So if you have a busy website, that means your vision is unclear. If your vision's not clear, it's even more unclear to the reader. There's too much to see, and it can impact your number one goal, which is selling books. Now, if you're trying to be a blogger or a journalist or something of that nature, you'll have a little bit different tact and tone, and you may then have more of a look of like a newspaper or an online magazine that may be a little bit different. But if you're trying to look at yourself as an author, we want to make sure it's simple, not ugly, not confusing, not busy. And we want to separate our marketing tranches as much as possible with very careful links back to our website. Okay? Clean room versus a messy room. All right? So the first one, let's talk about blogging. I'm very anti-blogging because I feel it's an excuse for people not to write books. But if blogging is part of your goal, like if you're a journalist or you've written a lot of journalism in the past and you want to build that into what you as an author, then blogging may be useful. If you're doing a lot of, like Linda's doing a lot of book reviews now, that's a way to bring readers into her as an authority. Blogging is a powerful tool. Blogging has to be very focused. You have to have very clear goals. What is it that I'm doing and how is it going to help me sell more books? Is this something my readers want to read? Like, do I write cozy mysteries and am I blogging about horror movies, right? That's confusing to readers. You don't have the same people buying one versus the other. Okay. How can I turn my blog into readers into buyers? So what am I doing on my blog and how is that relevant to get those people to buy my books or get those people to fund my articles or my website or my journalism? How do I get those people to do that? And that should be part and parcel of what you're trying to accomplish. A great example of this is the Pat Flynn niche site duel. So if you just do a Google search for that, there's another one that's a 30-day niche site challenge. These two different topics have a lot of content in there that help you focus your blogging on a very specific niche and to generate content around that. So they have a lot of, you can get lost down that rabbit hole, but if this is something you want to get into, you need to make sure that you're very clear on your blogging, and these two things can help you narrow that focus. Blogs fail when you lack a clear, valuable messaging. So it's insight, learning, entertainment are typically the things that people are doing on their blogs. I'm giving you some insight. I have wisdom to give you. I want to teach you something, or I want to entertain you. Those are typically the three options. You don't blog consistently. So I'll do 2 quick blogs and then I won't do one for 2 months. People will not come back. A lot of people burn out because they don't schedule blog posting. They don't do bulk content generation where they sit down and write a bunch, or they don't have a backlog of content waiting to fill in the times when life gets in the way. A lot of people half-ass it, and then some people don't do evergreen content. So all their content is very topical. So maybe helpful to create some evergreen content that gets people coming back all the time and that you can consistently market to get people interested in who you are. Now, not everything has to be evergreen. Evergreen meaning it's always useful, not specific. Like, for example, if you're a journalist and you're doing politics, it may be good to do like a historical post that is kind of evergreen on top of the daily machinations of what's going on in politics. Heidi says, true on burnout for blogging. I did it for years and sometimes a lot and seems not. So yeah, so definitely people can burn out real fast when they blog because you are having to do a lot of it and it can take up a lot of time. The quality needs to be high and that can burn you out. So that is a concern that a lot of people have. Okay, so I have a good example of an author blog. So Joanna Penn, she's a big-time author, big-time author's author. But I have an example of this, and it's nice to kind of look at what the big guys are doing and seeing if you can learn from them. So one of her articles here that we'll show is a transcript of an interview. So this is a great way for her to use one thing and create multiple pieces of content. Okay, so she sat online and interviewed somebody. She had that transcribed. So she's got a video and she has a video of the interview. She has the audio of the interview. So there's some people who like to watch. There's some people who like to listen. I'm a listener. I love listening to podcasts. And there's some people who are readers. They want to read the blog. Okay. So she took this one piece of content and broke it into 3 pieces. She posted on YouTube. She has a podcast of it. And then she has some blog content for her. She promotes all the way through the blog post with email capture. She has multiple times where you can sign up for something. It's very, very important, and they all take you to landing pages. So great example of seeing how you're using blogging and email capture, one and the same. Valuable rebranding of existing content. So that's what she's using, the same piece of content multiple times, and she's using mixed media. So let's take a look at what that looks like real quick. We don't have to go through too much. So she has a nice website, nice head image. She has a nice banner image of all the books she's written, so that conveys authority. Okay, so she has authority here in her banner images. It says, I'm important. I've written a lot. So she's written a lot of thrillers and books on top. And then she has a lot of author books on, I'm trying to help you be an author. So not only am I a successful author, but I'm a successful author's author. Okay. She has the audio here linked right up front, ability to share. If you keep scrolling down, you can say, here's the link to the podcast. She has links within her article for affiliate links. So people click on these and go buy stuff. She makes money from it. Here's a picture of the guy who she interviewed with links to his books directly. And then here's the transcript of the interview, which is very long. And then you can see within the email, I think right here at the end, she has, here it is. So she's trying to capture an email using some course or book, something of that nature. When you click on it, here's her landing page. I don't know who she's using, probably some expensive, AWeber or something like that, or one of the expensive email clients. But here it is, email, sign up to the newsletter, done. Okay, very simple, very clean. She's using her blog to grow her email list. Okay, the second example is very similar to the first, again, using a Facebook Live video that she did. She turned that into a transcript. She shares it on YouTube. She has timestamps within there to tell you about content that she might have talked about. So maybe you don't care about the first 5 things, but you care about the last 2 things. So you can jump to right there to listen. So a real nice type of thing. And she also promoted a lot of products. So you can see how she's using blogging in multiple avenues. Now, I do want you to know that it's very likely none of the stuff you're looking at, Joanna Penn ever did. So she has people doing the work for her, except for her sitting on the camera and talking, but she has virtual assistants who create the blog content, put all the links in and everything. So don't think you need to be up to this level when you start, but do know what is a good practice. You can see a lot of the good practices in her blogging. And some would argue maybe even her blogs are a little too busy, right? It needs to be simplified a little bit more, but to each their own type of thing. Okay, so blogging promotion. So if you are doing blogging on your website, social media, incorporate mixed media like YouTube and Facebook, so pointing people to your other channels. So if somebody comes and they're a blogger, they like reading your blog, but they really prefer YouTube, it's nice to have that YouTube link so they can go over there, subscribe to your YouTube feed, so that when they're in YouTube the next time, they don't have to go to your blog. They can just watch your content on YouTube because that's what they prefer. Okay. If they're on Facebook, if you're doing Facebook Live video, again, the same thing there. Take me over to Facebook. I want to like you there so I can see your audio there. Okay. So again, those really thin strands connecting those various platforms as opposed to dumping all of your stuff onto one place. Okay. So you want to promote the blog. You can do ad traffic. You can do guest posts on other blogs. You can do other appearances. This is the thing that I was referencing, that Tony is a good example of this. Tony's been doing a lot of interviews on podcasts. In order to, you have to ask first, but a lot of times podcasters would be okay if you want to offer something free to their listeners. So say you go on Jim's Sheep Hour and you write books about sheep, and his listeners want to learn about how to, shear a 4-month-old sheep. I don't know, whatever. You'll go on there and say, hey, Jim, I got a free book that I want to give to your listeners. Go onto my webpage, authorme.com/sheep. And there you'll create a landing page, or you'll create a link to a landing page where people can then go. I specialize in rams. So Tony would go to Dave's Ram Hour, which is in competition with Jim's Sheep Hour. And then she would go and make a short link. It would be like, go to tonykeefe.com/rams. I have to be kidding. Yes, we have lots of puns coming in now. She would create a short link to have people go and get that free book, and she would then get an email subscriber. Now, why is that important? Well, if she's writing about sheep or rams, and Jim's Sheep Hour has nothing but sheep, people who are interested in sheep, those are customers for her. Those are people that you want to read. So if she goes on, say, a cozy mystery podcast, and these are cozy mystery readers, you're getting put in front of cozy mystery people. You want to give them something for free. Maybe you can get a free email address. Okay. And maybe something with like sharing those emails with, the podcast person. That may be a way to sweeten the deal with the podcast person to be able to put a free giveaway like that. So do consider that. If you don't want to do blogging on your website, there are other platforms like Medium that are very popular that have their own kind of social networking aspect to it. So you can post articles on Medium as opposed to like on your website. So that's another way to do it. If you're into like say Medium or other type of blogging, that is an option as well. Okay. Podcasting, I linked a tutorial right there. I'm not going to go into big details about this, but if you do want to get into podcasting, it is a challenge. There's a lot of times there's all this stuff here, how to do it all, how to get interested, how to get traffic, how to get other people into it. The main question is, what's the focus of your podcast and how does it pertain to your readers and what they want to hear? One of the famous podcasts out there is Lore, and Lore. And this podcast was created by an author, and he created the podcast at first as kind of a supplemental to his writing. So he wrote kind of occult mystery thriller type of books. His name is slipping my mind. If somebody wants to type it in, if they know it, do it. But the guy who did Lore at first was doing it as an adjunct to his marketing efforts. Well, what happened was his podcast got caught up and blew up and got really, really popular. And then he got a deal with Amazon to make a television show around his podcast, which was all talking about, folklore in history, like where do vampires come from? Where do, the aliens and things like that. So he got really popular, but he originally made it as kind of a thing to go with his books to get people interested in his writing. Well, now he doesn't need to write anymore. He just needs to make his podcast. He's obviously a success story, but he started the podcast to help get people interested in his writing. And that's something you need to think about. Every time you do something, whether it's blogging, podcast, YouTube, whatever, how is it getting people back into your writing before you actually, get really big and have Amazon deals? Another question a lot of people have is, should I have a separate website for my podcasting? And the answer is almost always yes. Because unless you're the brand, like, oh, you're Tim Ferriss, right? Tim Ferriss is the brand, or Joe Rogan is the brand, right? And so everything that's under his umbrella, he'll promote at one time. But as an author, you're making the separate product, let's say scary movies or whatever. There's no way, there's not an easy link to your name and the podcast. And so there's not enough overlap there yet for you to basically make a single product. Unless you're the brand, you almost always need to have a separate website. So if you're doing podcasting, have a separate website that's just for that. Okay. YouTube, very similar, same thing. Audio as video, you can also use it. So if you're doing audio, like a podcast, you can do audio as a video. So you can put the audio with maybe some images as a YouTube video, and people can listen to it or watch it, even though it's just audio. So that's a thing that people do. You can post this via your blog. You can do, I actually have a good example here. This is a workout channel that I like. His name is Chandler. Let's turn this off. So Chandler Marchman, he does a lot of like kettlebell stuff. So I follow him. In his description here, you can see there's a lot of stuff pointing back to his website, whether it's Instagram, his normal website. But the first one here is marchmanstrength.com. If you click on it, what does it take you to? It's a landing page to get this really cool book so you can have super cool abs like this guy. Nice copy, download now. So that's all it does. You can see he's an authority. I'm going to give you this free gift. Get my free book. This is a landing page linked from his YouTube page because he knows most people are not going to go to his website because they're on YouTube. I want to watch my 3-minute, 44-second video of single dumbbell core workouts, right? I don't want to waste a lot of time goofing around on marchmanstrength.com. But he knows that you'll look at your email and you want a free book. So he's going to give you that. So he's going to take you to a landing page and get you back into watching the video because that's where he makes his money. Okay. So you want to make sure that you're referencing your website, you're doing giveaways in below, and you're pointing people to any type of product that you want to entice to get the email. Okay. So what's the focus? Why do your readers want to see that? These are all questions you need to answer. One of our members, Edward's son, Andre, one of the authors on our page, has a YouTube channel about dirt biking. I've linked it here. It's called Dirty Mountain Goats. He does 13-minute videos of him doing, I think 1 or 2 videos a week of going out mountain biking. He's building a nice little following. He's got 3,200 subscribers. He gets 1,000 views on every video. He's doing pretty good. It takes him hours and hours to edit that 13-minute video. So do keep that in mind if you want to get into YouTube. Video is exponentially more than audio, which is, way more than writing. So do keep that in mind. Next, Facebook. You can explore the ideas of Facebook as a web page. So you can have a simple little web page similar to like the Amanda Lee website. Yeah, very scary stuff on dirt bikes. You can have a very simple website, but for you love Facebook. Your whole life is Facebook. Some of you people, and you know who you are on this call, can't get off of this darn thing, right? You're on it all day long, right? Your website may be you may play second fiddle to your Facebook page or your Facebook groups. And you may run most of your effort through Facebook, and you can maybe even treat it as a web page where you are doing most of your promotion, most of your blogging, most of your YouTubing, most of your podcasting is all posted on the Facebook page and not on your web page. And why is that important? Well, there's just as many users, on the Google platform trying to find web pages as there are on Facebook. And most of your readers and fans and the community that you may be building are on Facebook. So why take them to a website when all of them just want to stay on Facebook? So you may begin to treat your Facebook page you may treat your Facebook page as your web page. And the groups, the Facebook groups that maybe you spawn around a certain genre or the world of your books, that may become your main stomping grounds of where you do most of your promotion, where you do most of your linking. And your webpage may be just a smaller little thing that sits in the back that, there's some people who like going to web pages. I have that thing for them. I spend all my time on Facebook. I'm familiar with Facebook. Facebook is my thing. They've got 2 billion users. They're covering at least, close to a quarter to a third of the planet. It's a good place to be. It's not a bad place to be. So Diana says, so those of us who aren't fond of Facebook, that's me too. What then? I'm not even really sure where to put on Facebook page. So I always like to say, if you're not an avid Facebook user, so I'll walk my words. Some genres require you to be on Facebook. Unfortunately, Diana, your genre is one of them, romance. So you need to become familiar with it, friendly with it. Doesn't mean you have to be, implant your kidney for donation to the Facebook machine. I don't think so. I'm not a very big Facebook guy. I have my other social media platforms that I'm into, like YouTube and Reddit, and that's where I spend a lot of my time. And again, I'm most familiar with those, and I know what the community expectations are, and what is, where to find new people and that type of stuff, and what is expected. I'm more familiar with that. I'm less so on Facebook. So it's okay if you're not on those platforms, but you have to understand that your genre may determine what platform you need to be on. And some genres, Facebook is a big thing. And also Facebook is such a big platform for other authors and to connect with other people and to network within that community. So it may become a necessary evil in your life to fold into what you do. Doesn't mean you have to spend all your day on it, but you may have to be, 30 minutes a day or 25 minutes a day and be very focused and go to where you need to go to say hi to people, to find out what's new, or find out what marketing opportunities there may be, or you can be passive and live within another person's community. You make comments and whatnot. You don't have to actually run your own thing. So don't feel like you have to become this great Facebook person. But it is helpful. Hopefully that makes some sense. Let's see. So then author page versus personal. So author pages versus personal. Yeah, you need both. Just be careful what you post on either. Some people are very political in their personal thing, and do know that might be off-putting to certain people. So maybe try not to have that filter into your Facebook page. But some people can't separate the two, so it is what it is. own the content that's posted there. Yes, Sydney, technically they do. Facebook isn't gonna. Well, I think they own it insofar as they can take it down, but they're not owning copyright over it. Like, it's not their content. Like, they're not gonna publish it for you, because that changes their status from a platform to a publisher, and that's one of the big fights that they're trying to fight out in the policy world. No politics on my Facebook. I'm just a bat. Very good. Thank you. Okay. Now that we have all these things that are linked, we have all these little pieces that we have to worry about. Here's a nice tool for people. If this, then that. And I have the link there. Basically, it's a great website where you get what they call recipes to cross-post content easily. So, for example, I do a blog post. My if this, then that account says, oh, if a blog is posted on my website, copy the link and send it to my social media accounts automatically. Or if I post a video on my YouTube channel, post it immediately to my blog, right? These are great ways to kind of reduce the amount of work that a lot of us have. It eases that work. It eases the thing. And there's endless amounts of recipes out there. So take a look at it. I think it's free. There's like enterprise level stuff. That's where they make their money. So for free, I think you get a couple dozen recipes, and that should be enough for everybody to use. So it's a great little thing. Play with it. See how you like it. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. There are other tools out there that allow you to manage the various marketing channels like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, things of that nature from one platform, but they cost money. So it just depends on what your price point is. All right. Wrap up. So just in general, we're trying to capture readers. That's our main focus. Capture those emails, capture interest. So while not increasing our workload, because we only have so much time to actually write all of our books, manage all of our marketing. We don't want to burn up all of our time trying to manage the tools. We don't want to waste our time in the tools. We want to write books, and we want to engage. We want to limit the amount of work that we have. Lead pages help to draw those people in. We want to use those other platforms to draw those people in to our lead pages, so we capture them without distracting them from what they like. And your website does not have to look like the website plus Facebook plus blog plus YouTube plus everything else. So do be cognizant of what you're doing and what you're posting on your website, and leave content flows to the correct channels. Like, you're posting on Facebook 10 times a day. You do not need to post on your website 10 times a day. Okay. You may be posting 20 blog posts a week. You may not need to post 20 blog posts to Facebook. You may do a wrap-up blog post at the end of the week. Every YouTube video does not necessarily have to go to your blog. YouTube users may want to stay in YouTube. So just keep in mind to help limit the amount of work. So it's been way too long. Hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. So Edward had a question. Old website deleted, simple walkthrough, Bluehost walkthrough. So I'm going to try to get this real fast. So Edward, if you go to a company like Bluehost, Bluehost.com, you will buy your URL, whatever it is, edwardthegreat.com. Probably already taken, but let's just say it is. You'll go ahead and get started. You'll buy your URL. You will pay for your hosting, which I think total will be about $100 a year, $150 a year, somewhere in that range. And then you'll install WordPress. This is a lot of words, so without a lot of showing. You'll install WordPress. You'll choose your theme, and then you'll go ahead and start posting and designing your website. But all of it will happen through, say, Bluehost, like one website, and you'll be able to do that. And I can maybe what we can do is if you figure out where you want to do your web hosting, and I think in the previous set of slides I had like 5 options there for you. So if you choose which one you want, this is a good example of a good company to use. They're very popular. They have a lot of options. If you choose the one you want, maybe we can walk through the installation together on a separate call, so we don't have to bog down a lot of stuff. But this is the place where you would go, get that installed, buy your URL, get the hosting, and then you'd have the website through them. So hopefully that answers your question. It probably doesn't. it probably needs a little bit more of a sit down discussion around it. But all right. Sorry guys, I was trying. Thanks. That gets me started. Perfect. All right, great, Edward. Let me know, and maybe we can get a talk or something like that, or a call. Andre might be able to help you as well. So check with him. All right. Oh, one last thing I did want to say. Everybody who doesn't believe that Weebly is a good option, Amanda Lee, who makes at least $1 million a year, is using Weebly to power her website. So there you go. So, oh yes. Okay. So yes, we're going to do the last of it. I'm not going to shut everything down yet. All right. So if there's any other questions, I think we'll shut down the recording for the website thing. Does anyone have any other questions? Hop off mute, type it in. Otherwise, we will go to the last of the discussion. And I am so very, very sorry how long this talk was. My voice is feeling it, and I've been staring at my empty Chipotle container here for about 2 hours now. So,
Matt, I have a question about the Jetpack plugin, because years ago when I signed up, that was the thing, that WordPress was pushing, and now I'm thinking that really it's not worth that much.
Yeah, probably not. It's probably not worth it to you unless you were running a really fancy blog or something of that nature. Are you paying for that?
No, I have the free version.
Yeah, okay. If it's free, yeah, everybody should get the free versions of everything. Paying for the premium versions is probably not important. I was worried that you might be doing the pay one.
Oh God, no.
Okay, good. So Ask-A-Met is another one for spam. It's kind of older. Akismet. I always get that wrong. So these are the plugins that are on our webpage. So you can see Doc Espresso, duplicate post, easy table of contents, contact forms, MailChimp forms. You can see we have a lot of stuff in here. So any other questions, issues? Nothing. All right. I'm going to stop the recording.